How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Today is Sunday, one of our members on the shows that's been open to the public for right now. I thought it was pretty interesting. I still got these issues trying to get TikTok going, but we got TikTok up there. I appreciate you guys coming to us from Twitch, Twitter, as well as YouTube. For those of you that are coming in from TikTok, you guys got the ability to click that button and jump in. It is taking a second to get it up there. Yep, there it is. Then there's also the opportunity for the rest of you guys. If you want to jump in and have something that you want to add to the show, you can click the link in the comment section that is going in there right now. You'll be able to approve the mic, approve the camera, jump in here and say what you got to see on the show. As we are live, try to keep it appropriate and also be over the age of 18. Make sure you like and subscribe because we got a lot of weird things coming up real soon. We're going to be talking about some financial strategies in the upcoming week, as well as some new and enlightening topics. I did get lined up with a couple of guests that I was going to be bringing onto the show that I might have on Thursday through Sunday. In addition to, I have to double check with Sarah and see if she is still going to clear her schedule to be on the show for the dating advice, which is also going to be scheduled Thursday through Sunday. And then the other financial institutions that are going to be talking about business, finance, and how to make money for you is going to be coming in Monday through Wednesday. So as we get those lined up, keep your eyes open for the podcast. And then, yeah, definitely, I encourage you guys to make sure that you stop by and see what we got going on every day. We start, like I say, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific, but we do kind of get in here on some CP time. So we typically slide in between 9 and 9:30 or 8 and 8:30 if you're in Central America or if you're on the East Coast. But as soon as we get it started, we're underway. We typically run it about an hour, have us a good time in here. And then after that, we kind of make it do what it do. Make sure that you leave your comments in the comment section for those of you that have comments. But today is a little bit different than most days because most days I have themed conversation that typically gets segued by fan interaction. But what we have today, we have some responses to some fan clips. They're going to be making some comments. We're going to be putting those comments up here. I still haven't gotten a response back from the one fan on TikTok who made it seem like taxes doesn't run the way taxes run. So I still have an open challenge for that person to really explain how taxes works, because I mean, we're creeping up on tax season. We've got 2 more days before we have a new person, and the blue team seems to be currently in the lead by 2 points, 2%. So depending on the way thing goes over the next 48 hours, we could either have us 4 more years of the blue team or 4 years of the red team. But we also know that the red team got some stuff going on that we're not a big fan of, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen if the blue team gets there. It just means that the blue team will be responsible for it if it does happen. Just high five your teammates. But if the blue team gets in there, all the folks that's got a good tan is supposed to be getting $1 million a person, allegedly. We don't really know how well that's going to work out, but we're going to see. As it stands right now, I'm going to go ahead and start dipping into some of these comments from some of the fans that we have seen, because I got some pretty juicy ones today. Not a lot. Normally I have quite a few, but today not so much so. It's been a rough week, I can tell you. There was a lack of sleep that had to be caught up with this past weekend. And there's still more work to do behind the scenes. So let's go ahead and get started and see what these comments look like.
My boyfriend is too immature and is a 22-year-old female. I've been with my boyfriend, who is 24, for about 2 years now. We've had some issues here and there, but now I just realized that we're having these issues because he is so mentally immature. I feel like I can't ever have a serious conversation with him. He'd just start making up jokes instead of giving me an actual response. I don't want to break up, but sometimes it's so annoying and I'm tired of feeling like a parent scolding their child whenever I try to talk.
Well, people who are conflict avoidant and people who are people pleasers and for the most part passive aggressive, when they're in a situation that they're not comfortable with, they tend to crack jokes. If you're forcing him to answer questions that he doesn't want to answer, and he doesn't have the assertive ability to tell you, let's not talk about that now, or I'll explain later, and you actually accept that response, then if that's not the case, then he's going to crack jokes and redirect themselves from an uncomfortable situation. Uh, when men are dating overly assertive women, that does come up, that some of the younger men these days do not have the confidence and the courage to, silence the conversation or request, if not demand, that the conversation stop. And the lack of mutual respect in the relationship between a man and a woman, the lack of mutual respect from the woman does show when she demands an answer and she demands it now. Uh, Typically, from a Sigma's perspective, a man's perspective, I got to tell you, I have yet to be in a situation where I am not comfortable with telling her, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to answer this question. Let's not do it now. Let's save this for later. But I have had the problem where I've had to juggle with, should I be more assertive about the fact that I don't want to be involved in this conversation, or should I try my best a second time to request that the conversation not occur? And typically, when you have those overly assertive relationships where she really wants the answers that she seeks, you're not going to win on that, because you're in the doghouse. Because if she's coming down on you like a ton of bricks, this isn't a conversation. You're starting to feel like an episode of First 48. You're not in a positive scenario. Men in America have adapted to the overly aggressive female and has determined that being submissive to the over aggression is the best way to maintain the relationship without conflict, or with less conflict. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Um, if I don't want to talk about it, we shouldn't talk about it. If he doesn't want to answer your questions, he shouldn't have to answer your questions. You're not being a mother to the man just because the man does not want to talk about that particular scenario. It could be important to you, but it could be insignificant at the time, or it could be a significant situation that's inappropriate to be talked about in the environment that you're in. When these things come up, you're not supposed to be pressuring your partner to have these conversations. Notice that most of the time you'll have a situation where the boyfriend or the husband is trying to have you reserve yourself to save that conversation for when we get home. Not too many people really understand that that's very important, that we're not supposed to make a scene in public. We're not supposed to be adding ourselves to the next episode of World Star. We're not supposed to be in the middle of a Waffle House with everybody in the Waffle House knowing our business. We're supposed to be able to carry ourselves with dignity and respect, and then we're supposed to respect each other in private as well as in public. But we're supposed to definitely express that level of respect for one another in public, even though it's equally important to be done at home. But the discontent that we have towards one another, that's typically something that we're supposed to fan out at the house. There are things that you guys are supposed to do in public, and the things that you're never supposed to do in public. That's where the old saying, airing out my dirty laundry phrase, nothing negative about each other is supposed to be projected into the general population. So if you don't like something that he did, if he made a mistake, if you made a mistake, you're not supposed to be calling each other out in open public. You're supposed to be able to reserve yourselves until you have made it back to a secluded location. Typically, these conversations happen in the forefront of the car ride home, especially if it's just the two of you, unless the kids are involved. Otherwise, you kind of wait until you guys get back to the house and try to have the conversation at the house. When the kids are in bed and you guys are in a different room, but you're yelling at the top of your voice. So while you think that the kids are not in the room, they can still hear you because you're not talking. you're yelling, and nobody likes to be yelled at. So think about it like this: when you say that you feel like you're scolding him like you're his mother, if you feel like you are scolding him like you're his mother, then you're not respecting him like you are his girlfriend or his wife, which means that it's probably your position to recognize you're not talking to him correctly, and you need to change your tone, lower your tone, and then try talking to the man with some mutual respect. Then, of course, if he's going to answer any questions that you're going to bring to him, he's more than likely going to answer those questions when you're showing him respect and a lot of appreciation, and give him a little bit of validity. But if you're just going to talk down to the man and you expect the man to talk to you like you're his equal, uh, but you're not even behaving like you're his equal because you're talking down to him. So you're behaving like you're his superior, and that he must answer to you because you're his superior. And in that situation, uh, you're not going to get the correct response. So how do you handle that? Well, lower your tone first off. Then you want to change your dialogue. Like, for example, ladies say that they do not disagree with what was said, they just disagree with the delivery. So a man can be 100% factual about everything that he's saying, but you have these women, and then you have these feminine men, because I've got a buddy that does the same thing, that doesn't like the delivery, and it's like, bro, got to put your big boy pants on if you don't like the delivery. But if you're dealing with a man that's less masculine, and he doesn't like your delivery, your best approach to that situation and that scenario is probably change your delivery. Talk to him with less aggression. Don't be demanding. Don't be condemning to the answer, because a lot of the times men know that the woman that they're dating or the woman that they're married to or sleeping with is going to overreact. And see, the volatility of a female overreacting is a lot worse than the volatility of a man who's frustrated about the situation, because she gets to hit you and throw stuff at you, which could hurt you in more than one way, and nothing will be done about it. But men can't do that. Men have to swallow it, suppress it, turn it into an ulcer, you know, go bowling with their buddies. They can't really release the frustration. So when they're dealing with somebody that's going to overreact and they're going to express that outward, you're going to have a whole nother barrel of marbles that you're going to try to avoid. Since you're trying to avoid that, the most appropriate way for you to avoid that is to not answer any condemning questions that could potentially put you in a situation where she's going to be throwing stuff at you, throwing stuff on you, hitting you with things, because we have that age-old joke that she'll go make some hot grits, and you already know you're in trouble. She's going to make hot grits with extra butter, because she could throw hot grits on you and nothing will happen besides you get third-degree burns, and now you're sitting in a hospital being rubbed down with aloe and calamine lotion. But you're not going to see that same type of behavior where a man can do that. A man can't throw hot grits on. A man can't get mad and be like, oh, she cheated, hot grits. It doesn't work that way. But I mean, if a woman cheats, if a woman sees that a man's cheated, she's throwing hot grits. It's not the same. You have to behave the same way you want your partner to treat you. You got to treat your partner the same way. So you got to really think about what's going on here. So let's go ahead and check on the next comment here.
My 36-year-old boyfriend always tells me he loves everything about my body, even the parts of me that I do not like myself. But since we've been together, past 2 years, he frequently sticks his fingers in me, just randomly when we're cuddling and whatnot, or more so when he gets home from work, and then asks me questions about my body that imply that I have been cheating. When I tell him I haven't, he asks, then why are there signs of cheating? Mind you, I've given birth thrice now, so I feel like that maybe my muscles down there don't consistently stay tight anymore. When I tell him that, he doesn't believe me. Says he's been with so many women before me and I'm the only one who has this problem, aside from the women who have cheated on him in the past. I tried having a talk with him that it makes me feel bad about my body, and he says he never said anything bad about my body and like that's body part. But when I said it made me feel bad again, he said that it's my problem to fix and I don't know what to really do at this point. Is my body down there normal? Or am I really abnormal? I've never cheated nor thought of cheating on him, and it's really affecting my self-esteem because I love him so much.
I wasn't expecting that comment. Okay, so let's start off by saying that they got some. So, from what I hear, rumors around the mill, because this is from a man's perspective, they say something about sitting in vinegar and stuff like that. You got the Pilates machines at the gym where you can kind of do like the leg whatever and strengthen. After 3 kids, I don't really know like what the condition of that is because I do not have 3 kids, but I can tell you that if it was 10 pounds 5 ounces as one of them kids, that I don't, it's dead, bro. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's like a soccer ball came out, and I've never understood like how does the elasticity of that actually regain itself after childbirth. But you've had 3 consecutive children. That is congratulations on that mission. But that's I don't know. But what I can say is that when it comes down to the lack of trust, when it comes down to the lack of fidelity, he's trying to compare you to all of the previous women that he's dated in the past that hasn't treated him right. He clearly hasn't recovered from that. You guys both need counseling for that because he's going to need to get some counseling because he has to get over his past traumas. You're going to need some counseling to get over the trauma he's causing you. But at the same time, you guys are supposed to be able to trust each other. So there shouldn't be a situation where you feel uncomfortable about something and then he's making it worse. And likewise, if there is any reason why he doesn't trust you, then he needs to be able to know how to man up and walk out of the situation and say, I'm done with it, not just continuously claim you for something that you haven't done, because the relationship is supposed to be built on trust and loyalty and dedication. And you would think that I would say it's supposed to be built on love. But even some of the fans that I've talked to on TikTok as of recent agree to the fact that uh, you're not looking for love these days. You're looking for a partner that's going to financially be in line with what you expect. So, since women are not dating men for love these days, they're dating men for long term companionship with financial stability. And men are trying to rationalize that expectation for financial obligation to the woman that they're hoping will be a good companion for them. You're both doing a transactional relationship in the Western culture where you're not actually there for the love. You're hoping that you can put up with him to get what he's got, and he's hoping that he could afford what you want to get what he's hoping that he'll get from you. That nowhere in there is the love. Now, you guys might be able to fall for one another over time, but love being a conscious choice, not a uncontrollable emotion, you guys can actually commit to the ability to love one another, well, regardless of your status and financial situation. So if you don't have the foundational trust that's going to make the relationship work, that's kind of going to be where the ball is going to fall short. That's where you guys are not going to have the proper checks and balances that you need to be able to maintain. Because if you get accused enough, eventually you're going to do it. Because I mean, if you're already being condemned for it, you're gonna have to figure that part out. Um, so I would take it to the whole getting counseling thing, and you guys try to work the situation out. But 3 kids in, I wouldn't say if you divorce, he's got a lot to pay for. So he better behave. But I mean, uh yeah, if you don't like the way you're being treated, you got to have a conversation with him and let him know how you feel. And if he is not going to get some help for his lack of trust in you, if you are not being unfaithful, then he's going to have to figure something out with him because he can't keep mistreating you because he thinks that you're cheating. Because this phase of the relationship usually ends with somebody cheating on him. I asked this question plenty of times before in the past. If you are always the person being cheated on, and it isn't a one-time thing. First time could be a fluke. You might dismiss it and blame the other person. But if 5, 7, 10 people are cheating on you, the common factor in that is you. So now that the person that's being cheated on is a man, not a woman, when I tell you that, bro, if you've been cheated on by 3, 5, 7, 10 girls, you've got to ask yourself what you are doing wrong that got all these women cheating on you. You got to ask yourself, like, where are you dropping the ball at here that has you um not meeting their expectations, whatever those expectations are. Because not people are not always cheating on you because you're bad in bed. You could be excellent in bed and have a bad attitude. and then they could end up cheating on you to get the emotional attention that they're not getting from you. So you have to really think about really why are all of these people cheating on you, to the fact that you just believe that you've been consecutively cheated on by so many different partners that you believe that the person that's got 3 kids for you is going to cheat on you. And then if as you say, there's no tread left on the tires, do you really believe that somebody's going to cheat on you? Like the value there is, I don't know. So yeah, really rethink your situation, bro, because you could. There's a thing called self-sabotaging behavior, and self-sabotaging behavior is you will say and do things subconsciously, not knowing that what you're doing is causing yourself to fail. When you do self-sabotaging behavior, you end up having less success in the long run and thinking that you're having immediate success in the forefront, and you're not actually doing that. You're setting up the catalyst for your own failure. And when you're setting up the catalyst for your own failure, once you failed, you could say, see, I told you I was going to fail. But you didn't fail because you couldn't succeed. You failed because you forced yourself to fail and you wasn't realizing that. So I recommend, brother, she's telling me that you are making, you're barking up the wrong tree with the accusations of infidelity, and you should probably redirect your attention to something else. Get you a hobby, and probably some counseling. That would be my best advice for you guys. So let's go ahead and double check the next question and comment we got here. That last one's pretty extreme.
Hey, I am 22 and recently got a job. Will be my first. I had everyone congratulating me. My ex texted me and congratulated me. I wasn't lean to reply, but did as I was joyful at the moment and wanted to appreciate her gesture. We ended up texted and calling. Got to know about her new boyfriend and how they broke up just few days ago. We decided to meet and have lunch that I picked her from her place, and we went out lunch. Talked about a lot of things and had fun. Dropped her back at home and everything was going fine. She texted me about how she has not moved on from and still loves and misses me. We talked about and decided to meet again. So we decided to go my apartment, to which she agreed, where we ended up watching a movie and cuddling, and then I tried to make the first move, but she removed my hand and said she is not physically attracted to me and doesn't love me the way I think, and told me she loves the guy she just broke up with and wants him to be back. I didn't let it affect me much, but what does that mean and what was happening? What was she thinking and what is going on?
Okay, so she circled back, bro, because you're her ex. Why did she? Here's a clue. If the chick, it doesn't matter if she left you or you left her, but more often than not, she left you. You're 22. You didn't have a job. You didn't meet her standards. She left you. She's dating this other guy. Now, how did she know that you got a job? Because you didn't have a job when y'all broke up. You just got a job, and now she knows about it. Did you post it up on social media and she still following your feed, and then she decided to come and talk to you about it, or did you text her? Because if you told people that you know that you got a job, somebody that knows you, that knows her, told her that you got a job, and then she circled back to see what's good with you. Now, you understand that you and her were having a conversation where she had already moved on and she got another boyfriend. So clearly, same scenario applies. If you have all of these X's stacked up, you've got to stop and think about first person accountability. What is your participation in the negative fallouts of your relationships? The same way I asked that question, what is your participation or lack of participation that leads to you being cheated on? Because you can't blame everybody else when you're the person that is negatively experiencing this situation every single time. So if it happens one time and you disregard it the first time. But the second, third, fifth, eighth time that it happens and you're experiencing the same negative experience, you have to think about what are you doing or what are you failing to do that is allowing you to be in this situation so many times. Because you, even if it's down to your poor choice in people, because your type of person tends to be the type of person that leads you down a toxic path. If that's your type, you need to stop dating inside of your type. If you are allowing things to happen that you shouldn't, if you have red flags that you ignore, if you are allowing yourself to sacrifice some of your non-negotiable expectations for behavior for the sake of being in a relationship because you don't want to be alone. Stop that. Whatever the situation is, you need to be able to stand on a higher level of principles when you are selecting your partner and have a higher level of non-negotiable expectations for behavior that they will have to adhere to, both men and women alike, because when she picks you, buddy, she still has to qualify for you. And when you pick her, you still have to qualify for her. So you have to be able to make sure that before you start doing a song and a dance to impress a chick, that this is a chick that you actually want. She's got to be able to do the same thing. Now, who am I supposed to say is supposed to first and foremost be the person that jumps in and says, I'm going to dedicate myself to you? It doesn't really matter who dedicates to who first, because she can dedicate herself to you first and wait for you to come around. You can dedicate yourself to her first and wait for her to come around. Either way it goes, once you dedicate yourself to that person, you're supposed to be making sure that you do what it takes to meet that person's expectations. You're supposed to find out what their expectations are before you dedicate yourself to that person. And then if you're okay with those expectations, then you fly with that. You're supposed to be able to lay your expectations out on the line. So when they dedicate themselves to you, you're supposed to be able to understand that they're going to meet your expectations. Now, when it comes down to this chick that y'all broke up, she's dating somebody else. She broke up with that person. Now she's circling back to you. You're the ex before the ex. You're the last generation. You know, I said this before. You don't go back and re-roll the last frame. So I mean, if you're bowling and you bowl that frame is done. Whether you hit two gutter balls or whether you hit a strike, you're not going back and redoing the last frame. You're moving on to the next one. So whatever X this girl for a reason, that's the reason why she's supposed to stay in X. She came to you for emotional comfort. That's why she's over here talking to you, because she's hurt because her and her last boyfriend broke up. You are the boyfriend before the boyfriend that broke up with her. So you can only understand exactly why they broke up, because typically people, until they fix what they do wrong in a relationship, they have repetitive outcomes, which is why I keep telling you, first person accountability, you must fix yourself. So if he's the rebound dude and the relationship failed, you got to ask her, hey, what went wrong there? Because clearly between you being her ex-boyfriend and this other guy being her ex-boyfriend, the common factor in that is her. So what happened that the relationship didn't go right? Now, this does not mean that you can make a pass at the girl and you're going to scoop the girl back up and y'all are going to rekindle something and y'all are going to get back together, because that is going to be a secondary toxic relationship. Specifically because if she wasn't satisfied with you the first time, she's not going to be satisfied with you the second time. And then if any event that she finds somebody that more meets her expectations, she going to leave you again and go date somebody else again. So y'all are going to have one of these on again, off again relationships where she technically doesn't cheat on you, because y'all get into a big fight, break up, and then she goes out with somebody else, and then they break up, and then she goes back out with you, which kind of keeps you in her back pocket like an option, that she can always access you as an option whenever she feels like it. She tells you that she's not attracted to you the way she's attracted to this other guy, that she has stronger feelings for him, but she still has feelings for you, and she can't let go of those feelings for you. You guys are young. The closer you are to your first attraction, I can't say first love, the first attraction, the first lust, the harder it is to get over that. But that doesn't change the fact that over time that feeling does fade. I can tell you that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, if you remember the name of the first person, you're not going to remember how it felt. So you're you can glorify how it felt, but I can tell you right now off the top that you're not going to be sitting here thinking, oh yeah, I remember that one person from 1980 something. And though you're 22, so 22 means that in 2002 you were born. So when I say 1980 something, you're like, whoa, that's a long time ago. Exactly. If you're 22 and you just started dating when you were 18, you only got like 2 years, 4 years worth of dating under your belt. You can remember the last 5 people that you were involved with, whether it was just emotional or if it was physical and emotional. When you start thinking about when you're 42, you're not going to remember how it was when you were 18 years old. So what you need to do is, since she was an ex, you wasn't supposed to bring her back to your house. That was the first mistake. You wasn't supposed to be rekindling communication. That was your second mistake. If you thanked her for stalking stalking you and telling you congratulations on your new job when you didn't directly contact her and tell her that you had a new job, you understand that she's still following you around. That's it. That you just recognize, I appreciate the gesture, and then move on with your life. You will not have to deal with heartbreak. People have asked me in the past, is there ever a safe time to get back with your ex 10 years down the line, 15, 20 years down the line? No, there is not. You can take that chance if you want to. Doesn't matter if it's 5 years down the line or 20 years down the line. If he and or she has not changed from the reason why they broke up the first time, you're going to get back together and it's going to be worse. And the reason why it's going to be worse is because once you start doing the same stuff that caused y'all to break up the last time, or allowing things to be done the same way you allowed it the last time, you're going to resurface all of the suppressed negative feelings from the first time this went south. And that means that there's going to be a lot more throwing stuff. There's going to be a lot more cursing each other out. There's going to be a lot more hating each other's guts. And I don't think that's healthy for you. You are supposed to be, just like I've used this example before on the show. Your relationship is like a nightclub. When they tear the nightclub down in a bar fight, you close the club down, you remodel everything, replace all the broken stuff, clean everything up, and then you walk away. When you open those doors back up for the general public, it doesn't look like there was ever a bar fight in the club. That's how your relationships are supposed to be. When your ex, doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, when your ex tears your life apart, you are supposed to close down your life so that you can build yourself back up, restructuralize it, paint everything nice and pretty, so that when the next person shows up, there's no history of baggage. There's no history of negative anything. There's no damaged goods observed anywhere in the new relationship. That's when a relationship can be more successful. If you're not doing that, if you've got a bar fight and you've got broken tables and chairs or broken glass everywhere, but you're still serving the public, they can tell this place has been torn down. And only people that are willing to allow damaged property are going to come over and say, I don't mind the damage. But truth be told, they mind the damage. And then as soon as you have a complaint, their first thing they're going to say is, but it's damaged. So, why are you complaining? And they will always defer to the damage. Notice whenever, usually when a man has a complaint about something, the first thing women say is that a man is insecure, immature, and in some way, shape, or form traumatized from his past. So if you are recognized already as insecure, immature, and traumatized because you have an opinion that may or may not be conflictual, you have to understand that it makes absolutely no sense that you would allow yourself to dive into a relationship with somebody who is going to pull your flaws out and then shine them to make you feel ashamed about that. So by all means, once she became your ex, bro, you wasn't supposed to follow up on that. That was never supposed to be the outcome of that. You were supposed to leave that one in the past. But since you tried to make a play, she wasn't going to let you. Now you recognize that. On top of that, she already told you that she had an ex. I mean, that she had another boyfriend. I don't know why you're making a pass at her when she's moved on. You're not supposed to be giving her the opportunity, because if they're on a break, I know people treat breaks like we broke up, but if you guys are taking some time apart to clear your heads so that you guys can come back and work out your issues, that does not mean that you're free to go and smash everybody else and then come back and try to get back into this relationship, because that's how you have pregnancies outside of the relationship, because you're out there smashing everybody because you're upset because the person that you wanted don't want you the way you want them, or they're not treating you the way you want them to treat you. So it's always important, very, very important, for you to go ahead and put yourself in a position where you're not the rebound, you're not the side, you're not the second choice. If you're not the first choice, you're not involved. And if they're not willing to accept you for who you are, since they want you to accept them for who they are, then you, sir, have to move on. So if the only thing that was a flaw was that you didn't have a job, you got a job, and she wants something different, I don't know why you even talking to her no more. She should have been on your block list to begin with, to be real. So let's go ahead and move on to some of the other ones.
thinking of saying the L word to my girlfriend for the first time.
Oh, that's
My
a mistake.
beautiful girlfriend is 23 and I am 25. We have been together for almost 2 months, and I'll be taking her out to celebrate it next week, and I've been thinking about popping the words to her. Things have been going great between us. She made me a gift basket for National Boyfriend's Day, loudly crying face. She took me out for my birthday a couple of days ago to Fogo de Chao, a restaurant that I like a lot because I love beef and I eat a lot, but she in fact doesn't because she doesn't think it's worth the price. Nevertheless, she insisted on taking me there, and I was so touched. We've also met one of each other's best friends, and I honestly think that she's the one. We FaceTime each other and fall asleep to the sound of our breathing every night. There was this one night where she possibly said, "Good night, babe, love, sleep tight," and I wasn't sure if I heard it wrong, but I've been thinking that 2 months is an appropriate milestone for me to do so.
It could be. It could be. You have to think about it like this, bro. The fact is that if you love somebody that much and the L word, because I thought when you said you were going to drop the L word, I thought you was going to drop the word leave. I was like, yeah, go ahead, bro. But no, truth be told, like, you want to stay together, so you're not trying to to walk out of something that could be potentially beneficial for you for the long term. You want to sit there and you want to have that conversation with that person where that person is understanding your position. I say go for it, but you have to make sure that you're not overwhelmed with the perception, because she's taking you to places that you like. What else is she doing? She got you a little gift basket. I know you guys are young. The little things that count. She doesn't have to spend a lot of money on you, but does she still value your interests? Does she value your pet peeves? If she does, if she values the things that you like because you like them, not because she likes them too, then she's a keeper. Because one of the things that I tell women all the time when they think about, well, I don't like some of the stuff that he likes. Well, you don't have to like the things that he likes. You have to like him and then respect the things that he likes because he likes them. The same way if you had a book club or a knitting club or a cooking club or whatever, and he respects that. If you like to go to the opera, he hates the opera, he'll go to the opera because you like the opera. He'll take you to the opera. He'll take you to the Chris Brown concert. He'll take you to the Usher concert because that's what you like. He'll take you to the Beyonce thing because that's what you like. He's not taking you to those places because he wants to go to those places. So if you got a female that is prioritizing you and validating you and showing you the love and respect that you deserve, then by all means, high five, bro. Go ahead and tell her. There's never too soon to say it from a realistic perspective, but from the perspective that some people can't handle the pressure, you can find yourself in situations where it does make things a little bit more uncomfortable. So if I would give you any advice before you drop that bomb, the only advice that I'll be able to give you, bro, is find out how she feels about you. Does she kind of feel like the same, or does she have really strong feelings for you, but the L word isn't one of those feelings describing her emotions right now? Let's leave it at that. Yeah. Now we're gonna go into another one. We got a couple of them because one of them was really serious. I can't believe that one came.
My husband, who is 28, cheated on me while I was 26 during a Las Vegas trip 2 weeks ago with a stripper when he was supposed to be on business.
Well,
what is my next step? Last night I went through my husband's iPad and found messages between him and a stripper. Before he left, he promised that he wouldn't be going to strip clubs, and I requested that he didn't get that drunk to make me feel more comfortable. He literally would never have told me about this if I didn't find it myself. I am currently pregnant with our second baby and I feel stuck. He keeps begging me to look into marriage counseling, but honestly, I just want to look right into getting a lawyer. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I need to make sure all my bases are covered. The thing is, I'm very attractive and young still. Do I let this mistake deter me from not moving on now while I still can? I would love to hear from other people who have gone through similar situations.
Um, First, I can tell you, you got 2 kids. So there ain't no such thing as move on while you still can. Because you are definitely a crashed car. There's no moving on while you still can. Your age range, you're already crossed the middle of the 20s range. You're on the downward slope. Then you also have the fact that you're going to be fresh out of a divorce. You're talking about covering your bases. You want to make sure that you get money out of this man to cover all of your financial standards that he's been providing for you, which is going to require him to give you half of his resources. I'm going to tell you point blank, you're not getting that divorce based on those text messages. A woman in Texas tried that and she ended up going to jail because getting those text messages off of his phone was a violation of federal wiretapping law. You're not supposed to be going through your spouse's phone. You're not supposed to be reading text messages without his knowledge and consent. You're not supposed to take possession of those communications, whether it's text messages, phone calls, call logs, photos. You're not supposed to get anything out of his electronic device without his knowledge or consent. He's going to make excuses and say, y'all should go to counseling. You should go to counseling. Y'all should go to counseling to work out y'all's issues, but you should go to counseling. I don't understand why women believe that they can go through a man's phone looking for problems, and then when they find those problems, that it's the man's fault. It is not the man's fault that you found those problems. It's the man's fault that he behaved the way he behaved. It is your fault that you found those problems. Because if you would not have been going through that man's phone, you would not have found what you have found. So I know there are some women that believe, oh, a man should be an open book and he should be able to share all of his history and all of his call logs and text messages and everything like that. Ladies, y'all are not about to give this man full access to your phone where he's going to be able to monitor your text messages in real time. Because I know that when y'all say y'all transparent, y'all hand y'all phone over after y'all delete the text messages that y'all don't want him to see. Y'all not gonna just straight up hand him the phone and say, go ahead, look for whatever you want to look. The time that it takes for you to delete the stuff you don't want him to see is the time that you know that you're hiding stuff from him. And since you're hiding stuff from him, how are you going to say that you want him to be transparent for you? Now, the other thing is that if you've got a partner, and I say this a lot of times, ladies, y'all want monogamy, and monogamy is only suited for the women. Monogamy is not suited for the men, because a man creating a lineage requires a man to procreate, and creating a lineage also requires for him to procreate a lot. Not going to say that it's fair. I'm just saying it is what it is. I've shown you guys on the show quite a few times that back in the past that a man lived to be 130 years as a slave and was able to have 209 children. I'm going to be honest with you. No matter how you split the math up, no woman gives birth 209 times. He had multiple women to have 209 children in 130 years. Even if he's dropping 5 kids a year, that's still 5 women a year that he's given birth to, which is more than 5 women a year that he's sleeping with in order to get somebody pregnant and have some children. So for this man to have 209 children, you have to think about the fact that all men should be capable of having 209 kids. In our modern time in the United States, most women have the willingness to have 3, maybe 5. Some of the ones that come here from other countries might be okay with having 10, but you have to understand that if you're going to have 10 kids, then where are the other 199 children coming from? That still means that there's going to be other women involved. We also have to take under account the other aspect of things that not too many people pay attention to these days. In the dating realm, women want the men to be exclusive to the woman, but while the women want the man to be exclusive to the woman, the women are selectively choosing, because it's their body and they're in control and this, that, and the third. They're selectively choosing when a man is allowed to be intimate with them. I understand that women are supposed to give consent and this, that, and the third, but if you want him to be monogamous, if you want him to be exclusive to you, you are supposed to make it a point for you to be able to cover all of his wants and needs and most of his desires. Okay. So if you're telling him 5 or 10 times a month that you're tired, Your back hurts, your stomach hurts, you have a headache, you don't feel like it. It's that time of the month, and that time of the month lasts 7 more days, where you're really only telling them that you're open for business 3 weeks out of the month, and the other 3 weeks out of the month, you've got a complaint. You're really telling them that you're not open for business, which means you're telling them to go solve this business somewhere else, which means you're telling them that you really don't want a monogamous relationship because you're showing him that you're not willing to satisfy him. Now, if you think about this, and we've had this come up quite a few times on the podcast, as well as other podcasts that talk about the same thing. Imagine if the roles were reversed. If a man said that he didn't feel like paying the bills, he got other stuff he want to do. He don't feel like paying the bills. I know women would be in an uproar on that. They would be frustrated about that. They would be mad to high heaven about that. But truth of the matter is that if in the event that a man wasn't interested in paying the bills every other month or 3 weeks out of the month, he just decided to just let stuff go undone, y'all would say that he ain't fulfilling his duties as a man. If you're not willing to make your man happy, if you're not willing to fulfill your man's emotional and physical needs, then you're not willing to be the good girl that the man needs. And then you're also supposed to be a helper on top of that. And I know a lot of women are saying that, we got to get married in order for us to meet those expectations. But no, you really don't. What you really need to do is be the wife that you are capable of being before you get married, so that he knows what he's marrying. And anything that needs to be improved about the way that you are behaving as a wife, he can sharpen those skills up before he marries you, so that you guys have a long lasting marriage. But if you're in a situation where selfishly you have expectations that are not being met, and then when he does put in the extra effort to meet those expectations, if you're not going to meet his expectations, I don't know what you're complaining about. So you ask me, should you get a divorce lawyer? No, because outside of plainly divorcing from unreconcilable differences, and that's not going to really work very well, because more often than not, courts usually require you guys to be separated for 12 months before you get the divorce. You can't just dive right into the divorce, especially if your husband doesn't want the divorce. You can divorce without his signed consent, but you are going to have to go through a longer road. You're going to have to spend a lot of time with legal fees. And then after you spend a lot of time with legal fees, you're still going to have to do that 12-month separation. You guys are going to, and then if you guys still don't feel like you want to get back together, then you can finalize the divorce. It's not something like, oh, I'm a file for divorce. Divorce filing is free. Divorce lawyer is free. And I'll be divorced by the end of the week. You can file for divorce in 2024 and still be in the divorce process at January of 2026. So you can't say that, oh, I'm a file for divorce and it's going to be great. It's not. It's not. It doesn't wrap itself up by the end of the month. It's not. So I would say work it out, because you already got 2 kids with the man. Back in the 40s, when you don't think that men started cheating in 2024. Don't think that men had multiple girlfriends and wives in the 1900s. Like that was like the first time. Back in the 1600s to 1500s to 1400s, when there were tribes, when there were kingdoms, you had the king of the kingdom had multiple wives in most countries, and in the Britain countries and other countries such as that, like the Roman Empire stuff, you had the king, and then you had all of his concubines, and then you had the wife. I was talking to you guys about this when we were talking about the divorce show a couple days ago, and the man had his primary woman who had access to all of this stuff, and then all the other women that he would sleep with in addition to her. So there was never a time in humanoid history where monogamy was the culture and the men were not having multiple women. The more resources the man had, the more women the man had. Plain and simple. That's how it works. And then when those women are not satisfied with whatever the man's got going on, if one woman leaves, she's replaced with another woman. But in modern times, the monogamy aspect of things comes from the woman's desire to be exclusive to the resources of the man, which is why monogamy is beneficial for the woman. But you can't tell me that you're the only person entitled to get paid for the work, but you're not willing to do the work. Let's look at it like that. If he's got to subcontract other people to do the work that you're not willing to do, then you're not entitled to the resources, which means that he's got to get somebody else to do the job. I don't understand why women aren't more involved with sharing. Let's be honest. Those days that you got a headache and you don't feel like it, you could tag another woman in like a stunt double. Let her deal with that. Let her break her pelvis bone dealing with this dude in all his crazy positions. I don't understand why y'all not for that. Why don't y'all just find like you and another attractive woman? Y'all should be enough. If there's 3 of y'all and y'all get on top of that like Charlie's Angels and y'all take turns, call yourselves Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and, and y'all just figure this out and split them up 33%. So I got them 10 days, you got them 10 days, she got them 10 days. Y'all figure it out. You know what I'm saying? That way, you still getting all the perks of being the girlfriend or the wife, but you have 1/3 of the responsibility. I don't understand why women don't do that. Because if you got 100% of the responsibility of satisfying a man and you're not willing to do that part, but you want 100% of the resources, I don't understand why you don't just outsource. Because you're still going to be the primary person to get the resources, and girlfriend number 2 and girlfriend number 3 are not going to get as much. That's called upper management right there. You should be making sure that your man is happy. If you don't feel like it, get somebody that you trust to do it for you. And that's when dudes got 2, 3 wives. And I'm going to be real with you. Not too many men are going to want to have more than 2 wives these days in America with the overly aggressive behavior of the one. It's going to be tough to say when it's 2 or 3 of them against you by yourself. Like your authority as a man in that scenario is not easy unless you're Mike Tyson or Chris Brown. So, it's hard to say that you would be able to be in that particular type of situation and you would be able to wrap up the same leader of the pack mentality. If there's 4 alphas in the same room and 3 of them don't agree with you, it's going to be hard to handle that. So I personally believe if it was just you and maybe 1 or 2 other people, hey, y'all can work that out. But either way it goes, it's not a good idea for you to walk out on your husband just because he cheated. You should work that relationship out, get you guys some counseling, get them tested, make sure everything is copacetic, and then just like leave it in the past. So let's go on with the next question.
My Hinge date ended up being more interested in my friend, and now I feel somewhat jealous. At 26, I've been talking to a guy who's 25. I met him on Hinge. We connected on Snap after matching and have been talking for a few months. Due to certain reasons, we couldn't plan to meet up in the earlier days of talking, but we would talk regularly by text and our vibe did match. I went on a trip with a friend in September and coincidentally, he was there on a trip too, so we decided to meet up. His hotel was an hour away, but he still wanted to come and finally meet up with me. I obviously didn't want to leave my friend behind since the 2 of us had come together for the trip, so she was with us too. I didn't mind, to be honest, since we had been friends since we were in school, and he was fine with it as well. We had a great time together, but I felt as if there was a spark between him and my friend. I brushed it off at that time. They definitely had more things to talk about since they worked in similar fields. I remember mentioning it to my friend later that I felt as if he liked her. I was somewhat bothered by it, to be honest, but thought it was stupid of me since I wasn't even dating this guy or anything. Over time, they connected through Snap and started talking almost daily. The 3 of us even hung out again last week at a club, and it was so clear that they were into each other. They kept flirting, whispering into each other's ears and subtly touching each other. I could see them connect more and more as the night went by. It made me feel bad. I felt as if he picked her over me. It somewhat triggered my insecurities and even made me feel a little jealous. I feel really bad about feeling this way because they were really kind towards me throughout the night. I will obviously let them be, but I wonder if I should even try to date anyone at this point.
I mean, what does that got to do with anything? First of all, if you pick somebody on Hinge and they don't pick you, you got to go pick somebody else. That's what you do. Like it. You okay? I'm sitting over here with a lot of red flags. First red flag that I got with the situation is, you and your friend go on a trip, and it just so happens that this man is going to the same location. How does that happen? That's not possible. That's not possible. You guys are not in the same city. Y'all not in the same state. If y'all are not just so happening to leave your own hometowns and both be going to the same location. Somebody had to tip him off, and he decided to get a ticket and get close enough to you and then commute the rest of the way. Makes no sense. She probably knew about that. Then you're going to say, well, they hit it off. They hit it off probably because they was talking already. He matched with you on Snap, and guess what you can do when you match with somebody? You can match with their friends. So you've been talking to this dude for a long time, and she's probably been talking to this same dude. Ain't no loyalty among thieves around here, which is really reckless right now. I just had somebody on the show last week, Saturday, talking about how his brother married his ex after lying to him about the fact that they were involved with one another towards the end of his relationship, then had the audacity to invite him to the wedding. Why? If we didn't even really break up, if we were just on a supposed to be break, there problem again. We were supposed to be on a break. We were supposed to be working, and then all of a sudden the brother is smashing the girlfriend, and then you want to say that because they hit it off that I'm supposed to be supportive. I told the dude, I said, bro, I'm not going to a wedding if I was you, because that moment in the wedding where speak now or forever hold your peace is the thing. I would be talking about traitors. I would be talking about liars. I would be looking at everybody's agreeing with me in the sky. I'm sitting over here talking about how are you. First of all, they sleeping together, and then he lied to his brother about it. Then he promised his brother he wasn't going to get involved with her no more. Then he's having a relationship with her for 2 months before his brother found out about it. Then he tells his brother to deal with it. Then he sends his brother a wedding invitation a year later. So a year after your brother a wedding invitation, that is dirty. So looking at that and then looking back at this particular situation here, if your friend knew that you like this dude and y'all had a long distance relationship going on, and or you were trying to establish a long distance relationship, if in the event that your friend had respect for you, she would not be allowing herself to get more comfortable with the dude that you are trying to date. She should not be. Girl code should be similar to boy code. You're not supposed to be allowing somebody to make a pass at you that when your girl wants that guy. Now, furthermore, when we start thinking a little bit further down the line, what you also have to understand is that when it comes down to if you're going to be the better friend and say, okay, she found her match, me and him wasn't really hitting it off very well. I wasn't really into him, and it looks like he might have had found a spark in my friend. I'm gonna be supportive and back out of the situation. If that's the way you look at the situation, then yeah, back out of the situation, let them two be, give them the high five. You're not really that invested in the situation outside of the time you emotionally invested in him over the months that y'all were talking over social media and texting before y'all met in person. But you haven't had anything else happen with him, and you haven't invested anything else in him. So if your friend first connection has bonded better than you bonded with them, hey, back out of that situation. But what does that got to do with you trying again? Absolutely nothing. If the person that you met, because what about if you didn't bring your friend? Because that's the other red flag. I'm sitting over here like, why the hell is you bringing your friend? Ain't no man ever gonna say don't bring your friend. That's a bad sign in and of itself. First contact with somebody you met online and they tell you come alone. What you mean? Nah, that's all right. I'm good. So no, if you're gonna bring a friend, he's gonna say fine. Bring your friend. Bring as many friends as you want. Not too many men are gonna pay for all your friends, but you can bring as much female security that you want to bring with you. But if you bring male friends along, dude's going to be like, nope, not interested. He's going to walk away. However, you also have the understanding that men are still men. So the mentality of a man that has one girl that he's thinking about, and that girl is bringing another girl where he could potentially have two girls, he's not going to say no to that thought either. So outside of a girl and her friend, the other thought that a man has in his mind is sisters and twins. So if you say that you're bringing other girls to the engagement, he's not going to say no. He's going to say no to paying for all of them, especially if he's not getting involved with all of them, but he's not going to say no about you bringing them all to the table. So you can bring your friend over there, because the odds of him hitting it off with at least one of y'all is reasonable if there's more than one of y'all there. But if in the event that y'all hit it off on social media, that's the other problem with social media. You can filter your dialogue. You can, like on this live podcast, I can say certain things and then I could potentially get canceled right after I say it. after I go off the air, not be allowed to go back on the air. I can't undo it because it's live. But when you're texting, you can edit what you want to say. You can look at your statement. You can delete certain stuff. You can respond to certain things. You cannot respond because you're in the heat of the moment and you don't want to say nothing negative. When you do respond, you can apologize for the delay, make up an excuse, and then give them an appropriate response where you're not acting in anger. You can immediately change the subject by just letting 24 hours pass from the last time that you received a message, start up a new topic, and now you're talking about something else. You can do all sorts of things when you're communicating online. But in person, if y'all don't agree with one another, y'all arguing. If you're going to push your position and not fold on it, y'all arguing. If he's going to push his position and not fold on it, y'all arguing. So 3 out of 4 times, y'all arguing because y'all don't see eye to eye. And if that's the kind of situation that you're in, if there's some pet peeves that you got or some pet peeves that he got, y'all might have hit it off as friends. Y'all might have formulated an emotional bond on social media. Y'all might be able to get along with each other platonically. But if y'all get into a romantic relationship, that relationship won't last very long because there are some red flags that you got that you're trying to ignore and some red flags that he got that he's trying to ignore. And them two hit it off better. So best bet for you, just go find somebody else. But if you're finding people on Hinged, it's recommended that you meet them in a public place. Meet them in a public place while it's busy. And then don't bring your friends. Because apparently, if you bring your friends, the probability of you hitting it off with this person is diminished by the probability of one of your friends hitting it off with this dude. Then you also got to remember that you and your friends go back way back when. And y'all got an understanding of what each other's taste is. And if you and your friend got the same taste in men, it is not a good idea to bring your man around your friend. It don't matter if y'all just started talking to one another. It don't matter if y'all hit it off a long time ago. You are not supposed to be bringing your newly discovered interest around your friend when you and your friend have the same taste and the same flavors. It's not supposed to work out that way. You're not supposed to do that with family. If you and your sister or you and your mom have the same taste in men, you're not supposed to have a man that you're attracted to and bring it around your sister and your mama, because just as much as you want that man, your sister and your mama want that man because y'all got the same taste in men. So with that being said, if you know that she would like him because you like him, she's not supposed to ever meet him. And if she does meet him, she's never supposed to talk to him, just him and her, because you understand that the way he hit it off with you, he'll hit it off with her. And all it takes is for her to be less aggressive and she wins. Because one of the things that men prefer over attraction, over sex, is less aggression. They prefer a cooperative person. So a man is not going to want a woman that's going to tell him what to do and when to do it and how to get it done. If there's an emergency, she can speak out. But more often than not, men really actually prefer, whether they admit it to their girlfriends after watching this podcast or not, men actually prefer asking their girlfriends and their wives of her opinion and then taking her opinion under advisement and then making the decision himself as to what he thinks is best. But if a woman is selecting a man that is going to put her best interest in front of everything else, that's not necessarily her type. That is a man that is going to work for her best interest. He's going to know what she needs. He's going to know what she wants. And then he's going to do the best he can to get her what she needs first, while he's getting everything else taken care of. And if he can afford to get her what she wants, then he'll go and get her what she wants. He's not going to put what she wants before what she needs. And if getting her what she wants sacrifices something where she's not going to have what she needs in the long run, he might tell her no to what she wants so that she can get what she needs in the forefront. But a lot like we had one of the women earlier in the show that doesn't like her boyfriend cracking jokes when she's asking him serious questions. Y'all don't want a man to tell you how to dress, to tell you not to be twerking upside down in the public, to tell you not to carry yourselves in a derogatory fashion, to not self-diminish yourself by identifying yourself as a bad bee and all this other stuff, to behave more conformative. Women don't want to hear that because the man that's telling her that is not her daddy. No, he's not. He's your boyfriend. He's your husband. And he's supposed to show you how you are supposed to act if you don't already know how to act, so that you can carry yourself with poise and decorum, so that you represent yourself in an honorable light. You represent your relationship in an honorable light, and you represent your husband or your boyfriend in an honorable light. And if he can't tell you that what you're doing is inappropriate and uncalled for, then you're not going to cooperate with him being successful with the relationship. You're going to make both of y'all look bad in public. And then that could potentially cause him a business deal, which causes him to lose out on money, which causes you to lose out on spending money. And that's one of the things that women don't understand, is that when you select this man, the same way you buy a lawyer, that lawyer tells you what to do. The lawyer tells you what to say. The lawyer tells you what not to say. The lawyer tells you when it's time for us to go. When you hire security, same thing. The security tells you when to sit down, when to shut up, when to leave the room, when you are not allowed to go in that room, when you're not allowed to leave the house. And you're paying these people to do it. You have a boyfriend or a husband, and that boyfriend or that husband is telling you what is in your best interest, and you're not willing to listen to that. You're not willing to be cooperative. So when you get with a man, a lot of these men are going to be looking for a woman that they can aid in being more successful, hoping that those women are going to aid that man in being more successful. So, ma'am, if your friend got the man that you think you wanted just because you didn't really progress your relationship fast enough, then the only thing I can tell you is go find you another one. Because there's a bunch of them. There's about 73 million Americans that have not been married yet. 50% of the African American culture is single and never married. Probably 30 or 40% of them are single, never married, and no children. So if you've got one man that you're looking at that's not meeting your expectations, the only thing I can tell you is go get you another one, because the next one should meet your standards better than the last one. And change the way you do business, change the way you operate. You should not tell your friend about it until like 3, 4, 5, 6 months in. If you met them on Hinge, instead of you not feeling comfortable and putting them on your social media account, you should probably connect with them on a text now, connect them with WhatsApp, connect with them with Skype, something like that, where you're still not giving them your cell phone number, but you're able to video call with them for free. You're able to connect and communicate with them on a cheaper scale, and you don't have to deal with your friends realizing, oh, she matched with the dude, and then they're reading his profile, they're hitting it off with him, all this other stuff. You're anybody that you're interested in right now is not supposed to be matching with your friends, because Snapchat, Instagram, Hinge, Bumble, they're all social media dating platforms. Believe it or not, they're more social. They're more like content flashing back and forth, selling stuff and everything like that. But they were designed for people to meet and hook up in some way, shape, or form. Whether they meet and become good friends, or they meet and establish a emotional position with one another, some kind of way, they're supposed to be linking with one another. And you don't want your current potential future guy to be connecting with all of your friends. That's not where you want things to be. But if you could be like that guy earlier in tonight's show who found his right person, and everything's going great, then you kind of want to stick to that and try to see that as far as it can go, because there's always going to be some rough times. And even though there's always going to be some rough times, the great relationships are the ones that work through the rough times. The for better or the for worse. The for worse part doesn't just include financial problems and bad health. The for worse part includes infidelity. And you guys got to get through that. So whether you're sick or not, whether you're broke or not, the for worse part also includes the lack of monogamy in your relationship, because that's tough times in your relationship when a relationship breaks down. The emotional detachments, stuff to that effect. You guys got to work together and choose to stay together. Okay. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up tonight's show. I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast tonight. So we're going to sign out by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And then we're going to go ahead and jump on. We signed out of Twitter first, Twitch first, actually, because we still got Twitter and TikTok and everything still going. But we signed out of Twitch first. So what I want to do is say, I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. because we got a lot of you guys, and I did not put. I got to put Omni 81 in here, but we really appreciate you guys joining the show. A lot of our loyal fans that come in and say what's up. We got to get Brickle Mode in there as well. I just thought about him as well. And then one of our other fans that followed us from Brazil, we got to get you guys in there as well. So we really appreciate our fans for showing us love every day. Just remember that we are live 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. We typically try to run ourselves like an hour plus long show. Today hit us like an hour and 10. So thank you guys for coming. Tomorrow's Monday, so we're going to be talking about business and finance and money. So we're going to be doing a lot of research on that. So keep your eyes open for that. We're going to be talking about some business and finance and money and stuff that's going off in China. So keep your eyes open for that. And we're also going to be scheduling some more people to come to the show. So we're going to be having some guest stars on the show coming soon. So keep your eyes open for that. If you haven't hit the follow me button on the respective channels that you're on and then subscribed on a YouTube channel, I'm going to tell you again, go back and subscribe on a YouTube channel. Like it, share it with somebody that you know, share it with somebody that you know can use it, somebody who might disagree with it. So they got something to say. I'm open to all challenges. If they want to come and debate it with me, they can debate the issues. Because we got coming up, we're actually going to be talking about the Chinese market, second largest economy in the U.S. in the world, and then we're going to be talking about the IMFs. So let's talk about some IMFs, and we'll see how YouTube feels about me talking about IMFs. Either way it goes, I'm going to run the show. I'm going to run the show until they tell me I'm not allowed to run the show. So I really appreciate you guys coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. I'll see you guys tomorrow.